Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalalem Na Yahaba Shimia Shaba Shinra Kudash, and double honest to Grams on Apostles, Thadia Shah for the strength and order to make this video, and Yaras is how you find it edifying and exhorting. Edifying meaning to build up, and exhorting meaning to encourage. But this one should be a quick video because considering the digital ID, the announcement from Keir Starmer, probably like a week or so back, him mentioning that by the end of the parliament, which is really around let's just say mid 2029, but the year 2029, that's the end of the parliament, they want to institute these digital IDs. So you have to play a little bit of this clip, but there's also something that Klaus Schwab said something years back, of course, during the period of the demic, the V. So in that time, he was talking about cyber attacks, man. So I'm gonna just say a little thing here, and that'll basically be the video Yaratazan and bring out some precepts.
They're on the cards, digital ID cards. Well, actually not quite ID cards as such, but something you'd have to carry on your mobile phone or another device if you were seeking or sought employment. Speech later today here with the details and some of the nuts and bolts of how it will work. LBC's political editor, Natasha Clark, joins me in the studio. Morning, Natasha.
Good morning, Nick. Yes, the Keir Starmer starting, I think, his fight back today after, well, let's be honest, it's been a really turbulent 3 weeks for his government, hasn't it? We've got the Labour Party conference up in Liverpool next week where he's hoping to join all of his government and all of those members back together. And he's kicking it off today with a major speech today, launching his new ID cards policy. This is a bid, he says, to crack down on illegal migration. He also says it will make it easier for us to prove who we are. Now, this will become mandatory by the end of the Parliament. They say that is all for now.
Of course, this is all, surface level stuff. The depth of Esau's intention is there, but only those who are really getting into it, aka those of us in Great Millstone, we know that, of course, Esau's intention with this digital ID is just to be a stepping stone to the MOTB, which is the ultimate surveillance system, if you want to call it that, because it will be a surveillance system. Yes, it's the MOTB. Of course, there's the spiritual cost, but there's also the physical cost as well, which is, of course, far. When I say physical cost, I'm talking about surveillance, of course, cancers in the body, which that's mentioned within Revelation 16. But nevertheless of that, the point is, Israel is not to be put in a position, but Israel shouldn't be taking this mark because of the fact that it will aggravate or cause Yahweh Shemajah to be pushed to anger, man, which is, of course, nevertheless, it's prophesied because of the destruction of Babylon, as mentioned within Jeremiah 50. But anyways, and Jeremiah 51 verse 25. But let's continue on. This is all surface level stuff. There's a deeper intention here.
Spoke earlier to the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, who told you that they will make sure they do all they can to make sure the homeless, those with disabilities, can use them too.
This is something that we are, as a government, are going to roll out by the end of this Parliament. But what is not settled is...
You see, so even when Keir Starmer said it, man, there was certainty to what he was saying. As in, you ain't got no choice. You gotta take that digital ID, which, of course, for now, it's external from the body. But as a reminder, when it goes internal, that's when the line's got to be drawn. And then that's why you say Yaharatazar, that will reject that mark in the time to come. Because, he's the one who controls our spirit. Of course, we have the intention, but that's why we've got to pray for strength in that time, man.
It's the precise details of how we roll it out.
As Apostle Rahal sometimes says as well, keep your medicine strong, which is really just meditating upon the precepts diligently, as it says in Psalms 119. Verse 4. Let me just get down quickly and then I should just let this video play, man. Psalms 119 and then verse 4. This is Psalms 119 and verse 4. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. It says in the NLT, you have charged us to keep your commandments carefully. So, of course, the commandments are the scriptures within themselves. So that's as we meditate upon them, as we think upon them, That's what helps to also fortify our minds as well. Keeps you in that high vibrational state, high vibrational state through the Holy Spirit, Harakha Kodash.
We're in particular planning to consult. There are groups of people for whom this is going to be slightly more complicated. For example, older people, people with disabilities, homeless people. We know from other countries where they've pioneered this approach that is more complicated. We want to make sure that every person in the UK has a digital ID, and so we are planning to consult on the precise details of how to ensure that those groups are included.
Now, we don't have all of the details of exactly who will get these ID cards and when, but under Labour's plans, we understand that anybody starting a new job will be required to show this so-called digital ID, which will then be checked against a central database, which obviously already exists in government. It's already something that you have to do anyway when you sign up for a new job, isn't it? You have to show your passport, your driving licence, your national insurance number.
Since I started a new job, Natasha. I don't think you were even born when I started. Anyway, do go on. Natasha Clark continues.
You never know what's around a corner for you, Nick. And it will be given just to UK citizens at first, but obviously that will raise the questions of how it's going to be rolled out on the so-called migrants and people who are coming here, especially who are already working, as we know, many times, many occasions in the black market. We spoke when you spoke earlier with Lisa Nandy. However, one of the main criticisms of this is it's been an example of the state getting bigger, basically not a nanny state, rather sort of a state that can spy on you, a state
Bullying
that
state in a
exactly
sense,
a state that will basically be able.
That's why they call it Big Brother, because Esau wants to have that overwatch against of course Jake be the main ones in his seat, in his mind. Jake be the main one, but overtly everyone's gonna be affected. Heathens here, of course Jake as well. So Esau's moving fast. He's moving fast, and also even with this digital ID as well, it's gonna be an app. And that's going to lead to my next one. But let me let her finish her point.
Show your papers. You've got on the front page of the Daily Mail. It's returning to the days of East Germany. But Lisa Nandy hit back at claims today that this was an example of that. She said she defended that today when obviously the Prime Minister said last year that he wanted this to tread lighter on our lives. It's got quite a mixed reaction from Westminster politicians. The Liberal Democrats are opposing it. Reform are opposing it. Kemi Badenoch has called it just a gimmick. But actually, Nick, Britain is one of the only countries in Europe, apart from Ireland, without this form of ID.
Of course, those of you in America, Liberal Democrats, Reform, these are like the other sub-parties. Of course, the main ones, you got Labour and Conservative that go head to head. Of course, two parts of the same coin. But these are like the other sub-parties, if I can call them that.
But it's very widespread across the continent, and generally public opinion, including here in Britain, is quite supportive of this. Now, the reason why the Prime Minister is trying to sort of get his government back on track, of course, it's all about Reform UK.
They're quite supportive. But nevertheless, of that, you got like 2.7 million. I haven't checked the figure lately, but recently it was 2.7, probably more than that by now. Petitions that have been signed against this as well, man. So anyways, let me get to these precepts. And to my close out. Actually, hold on, wasn't that one in it? Hold on. This is Psalms 2 and verse 1. Why did the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? And the thing is, Esau thinks that this is a very potent plan of his, but nevertheless, his fall is inevitable. His fall is inevitable, but he doesn't realize that though, because he's got a lot of pride. That's why the Most High will put him down, as it says in Obadiah 1 and verse 7. So Psalms 2 and verse 2: the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and against his anointed, saying. It says, let us break their bands asunder and cast their cords from us. And it says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall have them in derision. So the point is, the Most High already knows that he's gonna throw a spanner in the engine, man. He's gonna start making weird noises, and the plans ain't gonna work. Imagine throwing a spanner in the engine of a car. Yeah, man, that thing's gonna wreck it apart. Especially when it's when the engine of a car is open, which in the Most High's eye, all of Esau's plans are open, man, because he's the one who put the thoughts within him in the first place. Remember, man's goings are of the Lord. So that's Proverbs 20 and 24. Should be 20 and 24. Yeah, Proverbs 20 and 24, man's goings are of the Lord, Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own ways? See, so the Most High puts the thoughts, he's the one who directs the actions of Esau, Edom. And let me get this one as well. Psalm 64 and 6. They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So first, the reason why I'm bringing this out as well, because their plans, to wreck society does go deep, man. Now, you gotta remember this clip right here, man. Yeah, it's you could already see all the hashtags there. You see? I ain't gonna say most of it, but you're seeing it with your eyes. But that's their aim, man. Cyber attack worse than the CV. Because they're gonna say, let's say UK starts with the digital ID with the app, they do that stuff. And after the app, what they're gonna do, what they could do, this is just me speculating, is make the cyber attack happen. It could be a case where it's a niche cyber attack, where it's like, okay, we're just gonna black out the internet, reset it fully, kind of like China having their own internet. It's there's a lot of restriction in the Chinese internet specifically. I think Russia was trying to do the same thing, but China, I know it has its own internet, so there's restrictions there. And then this one, they could do the internet blackout, or they could do a whole like electrical grid blackout. It could be a case of, or at certain countries have it, or it could be global. It could be global, man. That would really speed up the intensity of Jacob's trouble. All right, let's see this.
Our reliance on digital services and infrastructure has exponentially increased due to the unprecedented connectivity which we have established now. From the adoption of large-scale working from home arrangements to the use of cloud services, e-commerce, e-health, e-education. Many tech leaders have noted that within a couple of months we achieved such advancements in digital transformation that would have taken otherwise 2, maybe 3, maybe even more years. This paradigm shift to digital has made the role of cybersecurity as a global public good even more pronounced. We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
It's true. You know how many infrastructures in society rely on electricity? Once electricity goes, people go and bug out. People with phone addictions, social media addictions, and pretty much addictions to all these devices. They're gonna bug out, man. Especially the young generation. I could say that for.
Our existing fragmented global architecture is not fit anymore for purpose in the 21st century. It's high time for a great reset. Change is not happening. We have a choice to stay passive and see the negative trends unravel. Inequality, polarization, nationalism, racism. If we do not stop those trends, will lead to a post-corona world that definitively is less sustainable, less equal, and much more fragile. On the other hand, we can instead use our time to reimagine our world and build a new social contract. We need a great reset that will shape a much more resilient system for the post-corona era.
Yeah,
Just tell me a little bit about
Our reliance.
yeah, so you heard the guy, man. Cyber attack is don't forget about that one as one of the possibilities of one of the impactful tools ESO could use to put people in fear. So imagine that's rolled out, by Keir Starmer, and then they use this cyber attack as a reset, of things, the internet, and pretty much just to wreck systems to build up the new one. Then they're gonna say after, okay, if you wanna have safety, you gotta take that MOTB. So you get what I'm saying? That's why I said digital ID is a stepping stone. I'm just linking it all together because you can't forget about that, man. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 3 being a key part. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So of course, when Esau says, peace and safety, in other words, he's going to say all these systems are convenient, they're going to be good, they're going to be economically good, socially good, whatever manner of way that he claims it's going to be good. That's when the destruction will come, because Yahweh Shemeshah is going to reign that destruction is going to push him from his throne, push Esau from his state of rulership, and destroy his kingdom, man. So it's going to fall away, man. Of course, it's going to be orchestrated as well to a certain degree, but it will come to the point where Esau's going to lose control of that chaos. When a person intends to create chaos, like a villain in a movie, but then he loses control, that's going to be Esau. So anyways, that's me tying up this video here and this video here of Klaus Schwab, the digital IDs and the reset with the cyber attack. So just giving a heads up to Hakim. Yeah, to Zah, they found it edifying. And Shalom, Yabashim Shabrakatha, once more double honest to the great Muslim apostles, and also the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom, Shalom, and Yabashim Shabrakatha.